Okay, and we live again. Real quick, I'm gonna make this video as short and sweet as I possibly can. This is just a topic B quiz review. We do have our retake tomorrow. Be prepared to hopefully ace it this time around. If not, then just be prepared to do as best as you can. I'm gonna go through all the questions, but I will not be as thorough in some of them just because the answers are lengthy, but I will give you the gist of how to solve them and accurately find the answers for yourself. I already explained this in class, but I'm going to re-explain just so you can have this video as a reference. For number 1, what value of m makes the equation 7m equals 7 to the 8 times 7 to the 5 true? In this particular case, we have like bases. When you have like bases and you're multiplying, all you have to do is add your exponents together. That'll give us 8 plus 5, which equals 13. So your answer will be m equals 13, just like that. Or whatever variable it is that you're given. Moving on. For number 2, I'll do a couple of these, just not all 5. It says to indicate whether each expression is equivalent to 5 to the 4th power, 5 to the negative 4 power, or not equivalent at all. Y'all did fairly well on the first 3. The last 2 you were stumbling quite a bit, so I'll just do maybe 2 or 3 of these, and then I'll leave you to practice on your own in your free time. For this first one here, 5 to the negative squared power raised again to a squared power. When you have an exponent on the outside of the parentheses, you will multiply that exponent to the exponent on the inside of the parentheses. In this case, it'll be negative 2 times positive 2. That'll give you 5 to the positive 4 value. I'm sorry, to the negative 4 value, excuse me. So you just put a check mark in the box. I'm going to skip down a couple to 5 to the negative cubed power raised to a negative 1 power. Once again, same type of setup. You'll just multiply your exponents together because that negative 1 is on the outside of the exponents. I'm sorry, of the parentheses. Negative 3 times negative 1 will give you a positive 3. That is 5 cubed, positive, and that's not equivalent. I'll do this last one here at the bottom, this 1/5 raised to the negative 4th power, because a lot of you guys stumbled on there. You'll have to apply that negative 4 to both the 1 in the numerator's position and the denominator, which in this case will be a 5. So you have to make it 1 to the negative 4 over 5 to the negative 4. Because that 1 multiplied together 4 separate times will still give you 1. It's essentially obsolete, meaning it's not really important. What is important is being able to convert this fraction here back into exponential form, because these up here, your answers, are all in exponential form. Anytime you have a negative exponent, especially in the denominator's position, and you need to convert, that'll always result in a positive exponent when you put it back in exponential form. So what says 1 over 5 to the negative 4 in exponential form from fraction form will be a positive 5 raised to a positive 4 value. Okay? So this will be equal to that. I'll leave you to do the other 2 on your own in your free time. I know that I wrote a little bit over number 3. Let me just erase a pinch. There we go. It says which expressions are equivalent to w raised to a negative 7 over w raised to a negative 4. When it asks if something is equivalent or not, all that means is to solve. Just think of it as saying just to solve, and then choose all the answers that apply. This particular question has 2 answers, not 1. Okay, so we're just going to solve first. We have the same base, which in this case is w, and we are dividing with like bases. When you divide with like bases, all you have to do is subtract the exponents from each other. So you subtract the exponent of the numerator, which is negative 7 in this case, minus the denominator's exponent, which in this case is a negative 4. That gives us negative 7 minus negative 4 This is a double negative here and we can't have it, so we have to turn it into a positive and make this equation addition. That'll give you negative 7 plus 4, which equals negative 3. So for your answer, that'll give you w to the negative 3, which is b, but you can also rewrite this in fraction form as 1 over w to the negative 3, which is e. Okay? Beware of that. For number 4, what value of n makes the equation y squared times z to the 0 raised to the third power equals y to the n true? All this is asking you for is what value is n. Okay? It said all of that just to ask you what value is n. I could tell you now that any number raised to the power of 0 is always 1. So this z to the 0 is going to be 1. And because it's 1, you can essentially cross this out and just ignore it, because 1 times y squared is still going to be y squared. So you can pretend as if that z to the 0 power is not even there. And you can rewrite this as y squared raised to a cubed power. Once again, like how we did for number 2, because we have an exponent on the outside and on the inside, we're just going to multiply that 2 and that 3 together. That gives you y to the 6. So your n value in this case equals 6. That's how you find the n value. For number 5, last one. Which expressions are equivalent to 13 cubed times 13 squared times 13 cubed raised to a squared power? Choose all that apply. I can tell you now, this has 2 answers as well. First, you want to handle this 13 cubed raised to a squared power, just like how we multiplied in number 4. We're going to do it again. 13 cubed raised to a squared power. 3 times 2 is 6. That gives you 13 to the 6. So I'm just going to rewrite this equation. 13 cubed times 13 squared times 13 to the 6th power. Because we are multiplying with like bases, yet again, our base is 13. When you multiply with like bases, all you have to do is add the exponents together. So 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 6 is 11. That gives you 13 to the 11th power. When you go to your answer choices, for A, it says 13 raised to the 5 plus 6. 5 plus 6 is 11, so A is one of our answers. B would not be our answer because 3 times 2 is 6 times 6 is 36. That'll give you 13 raised to the power of 36. For C, that would not be one of our answers because any number raised to the power of 0, even if that 0 is on the outside of the parentheses, will equal 1. So C would not be one of our answers, and D would not be one of our answers for that reason. For E, we have 13 to the power of 11 times 13 to the power of 0. Any number raised to 0 is going to be 1. And then 1 times any number is still going to be that number, which essentially would mean that E says 13 to the 11 times 1, which will still be 13 to the 11. So E is one of our answer choices. F will be wrong just because it has the wrong exponent. We're looking for the exponent of 11 and not 12. So there you just play the process of elimination. And that is it. Make sure you study topic B. Topic B lessons were lesson 11 through lesson 14. More importantly, study your properties of exponents. And I'm just going to abbreviate properties of exponents and the definitions. Study those tables from page 81. Very hard. That's the bulk of this test. It's pretty much all of it. If you understand everything on page 81 in those 2 tables, you will pass this test with flying colors. Take your time to study. If you have any extra questions, do revisit the recap in each lesson as well. I'll see you tomorrow.